What is up? It is your girl M here, and I'm with the Ashley Old. Did I say your last name right?
You did.
I did.
You
okay.
did.
We are here on Just Ask M. I am super excited about this one. Your girl been really busy, and I said, how I keep up with it, I don't know. My only answer is but God. That's number one. And I'm back in my fire because, sometimes it gets a little repetitive and it's like you don't want to lose that of your authenticity or uniqueness.
Right.
So with that being said, I'm super excited about this episode. I feel like I'm kind of back.
She's back.
Yes, a lot of exciting things. Officially rebranded my two businesses that I had before of, yes, thank you, event planning and design and organization. Officially with New York State and my money taken.
It's going to come back, though. It's coming back.
And consulting and concierge, and I'm super excited because God, the universe, whatever you believe in, I swear, when you're patient, when you just breathe, that's what my ring says, and you allow God to work and understand, like we were just saying, that things aren't mistakes, but when you look at them more like lessons, things align when you develop an improved mindset and perspective, and you learn to appreciate. We always knew we had a connection and rooms. We've been in plenty of rooms lately.
Yes.
But it's always that perfect timing where, like, now I can give you the respected, undivided attention.
I am a firm believer in divine timing. And as we know, like, just because the seed is planted doesn't mean that
it ain't growing.
It's not growing. So it's like, we've been, for years now, around and swirling around each other, and mutual friends, and everything. And I've always respected what you've done, what you do, and what you're about to do with the rebrand. But I even know that, like, up until this point, and it's funny because I am in a season where I'm really beginning to see the fruits of the labor that I've put in on every level of my life.
Isn't it so refreshing?
It is so, you're
like light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, phew, you're like, okay, we're not completely out of the woods yet, but
you're getting there.
I'm getting there, and I can see why, things didn't happen before this, and I understand that, and I didn't, up until recently, I didn't have the capacity. I was still, it was a season of isolation and self-reflection, and a time where, outside of giving to my daughter, I needed to give to me. And I don't think we take enough time. I don't, because society has made us believe that that's not something that we should be doing, but it is essential. When you know you need to take that time and step back, you need to get rid of the FOMO. You need to get rid of
social anxiety,
social anxiety, and be like, no, like, if I got to a point where, even though I've been doing healing work and inner work for over 20 years, I was like, okay, something's got to give, because these patterns aren't ending. And I know I get better every time, and I can see the process, because, God, the universe, again, whatever you want to call it, is going to continue to repeat cycles.
And whatever you avoid will catch up.
Will catch up.
Yeah.
and sometimes, there's layers of our own healing that, like, we have to go through to be able to see those things and react to it or handle it differently. But I really stopped bullshitting. And I was like, no, like, these boundaries need to be placed. I don't need to say yes all the time. I don't need to be nice all the time. And not that I'm mean, but I got to make sure I'm putting myself first.
Backbone is okay. You could, because we got a lot of good points we're gonna get into, and then that was a strong start. In customer service, the best way to sum it up is I had to learn the backbone and art of professionally cussing you out.
Yes.
But
I've become really good at it.
Yes, and it requires grace, patience, and understanding, but it is an art of no. Doesn't have to come off disrespectful, but there's.
And when you get rid of that anxiety of having to give an explanation.
Because at the end of the day, like you said, this FOMO, these obligations, these unrealistic expectations, feeling like you have to be seen. At the end of the day, I just did an episode not too long ago, it's either the fear of being sober-minded because you're fearful of what you should be facing, but you keep avoiding it.
Yep.
And knowing you probably need to address certain issues within yourself, but because we don't know the outcome, the unknown is what makes us fearful.
Oh, yeah.
But the worst thing you could actually do is keep avoiding it because it's so detrimental to keep harboring that. Because it's going to come out one way or another. And most of the time, the longer you wait to heal or deal with it properly, it's going to come out at the absolute wrong time and hurt somebody or just be a disaster.
When you're holding all of that in your body, it's going to manifest
toxic.
in your health. You know,
Stress is the silent killer. That is not a lie.
It is not a lie. And unresolved trauma and realizing that a lot of our physical symptoms and things that our bodies go through are all correlated back to unhealed trauma.
Absolutely. And like, and you know, between, you know, our cultures, Black, Hispanic, you got Greek, you know, that's pretty, that's right there with like the strength of Hispanic and prideful culture we have. You know, like you said, you know, back in the day, we weren't sitting doing this. We weren't talking about our issues or what we feel or trauma or mental health. Mental health, like, I'm only 35. I mean, back in the day when I was in school, like, therapy, like, mental health, that wasn't a thing.
No, it wasn't. And I always knew that, I grew up in a household that probably was
dysfunctional.
It was dysfunctional. and I think that goes along with the time period too, because our parents weren't talked to about mental health, and
they were doing the best they could.
They were doing the best they could. Yeah. And I understand that. And through my therapy, I've been able to now have conversations and set boundaries. And I never thought that I would have the relationship with my dad, especially that I do now. Yeah. And it doesn't erase anything that's happened in the past, but him and I came to a place where we're like,
let it go.
Let it go.
Let it
but
be.
Also, like, if I'll respect your boundaries if you respect mine. And if we don't have to always agree.
Right.
We don't have to always see eye to eye. But if you do this and you do this, then I'm still committed to showing up and allowing you to have, access to your granddaughter. And I want my parents, that wasn't something
I think the trouble they have is we're always their babies. And like I said, Mom, like, your babies, like, after that, like, we're grown. And I think they struggle with that because it's like when you have certain conversations with them, I'm like, it's not disrespectful. It's just addressing. Yeah, like, it's the truth. But because I'm your kid or your daughter, like, you can't comprehend accepting it. Right. So that's actually kind of like funny. But so when I had asked, who Ashley was, we'll start there before we go into the bullet points, because I do like the bullet points that you had given me after so much. I wrote it on a whole nother card that's not even from this episode. But I said, I got to write these down because these are like spot on.
I love it.
But one of the because Buffalo, New York is so small. Like you said, we've been in rooms probably for the past 2-3 years at a minimum. Yep. So it's like, there's acquaintances, there's mutuals, there's familiar faces, but part of slowing down, not always needing to be in a club scene or a drinking scene, whatever the case is, maybe doing this, a couple girls, co-ed, whatever the case is, just chill dinner, good conversation, this and that. I think in this day and age, there's not enough of that because it's like, you know of people for years, but how much do you really know them? Like, do you know their resume? Do you know their personal life? Do you know their upbringing? Do you know what they may currently be going through? So I think I've developed a greater appreciation for that. Obviously, when you go through grief and loss of loved ones or just certain close people, you go through these traumas, it switches your perspective altogether. So the last event that we had, actually spent a few days at was the Bow Flove event. And you had mentioned, I said, we should do something together. And like, I took note of it, but I didn't hear it then. Right. But it goes to show you of like, having the capacity. If God gave us all the opportunities at once, we wouldn't know what to do with them. So it's an understanding of isolation is okay. Reflection is okay. These aren't negative things, but it's to do that is to silence your mind so you can get clarity of all the creativity that's there, but you have to focus and lock in order to tap in. Yes. So, then I think I posted my rebranding video. Yes. You commented. I said, there it is. I said, we need to collab. I've been so busy. I'm like, I don't have an episode for Monday. I said, and like you said, the waiting thing, just do it. Just do it. If you feel ready and the only thing that's stopping you is like, I might be too busy or this and that. So I said, do you want to do a podcast? You did. And one of my questions was, who is Ashley? And everything you explained to me, there was so much new information for me. So for any viewers listening, who is Ashley?
we could go on for hours. That's like 3 episodes.
Hours and hours.
But in my Instagram bio, it says multi-passionate and multi-dimensional.
Oh, I like that.
I am a creative, and that's in every aspect of my life. When it comes to decorating my home, when it comes to
that's why we get along.
I was like, I have a love for art. My grandmother was very involved in the art scene in Buffalo. And I feel like part of my reason for coming back to Buffalo was to continue her legacy. And she passed away in 2020, and she was 93, and
wow.
she died the way my grandma.
Oh, your grandma. Okay.
And she passed the way she wanted to on her terms, and she was a badass. But because I never thought I would come back to Buffalo, and so like after the initial wear off of like I'm coming back for my daughter and family and everything else, it was like, oh wait, like I'm here to complete something bigger. So now that my daughter's older, I have more capacity and can be out there more. And my whole life, ever since high school, I've been a photographer.
Okay.
And it was my first love. It saved me, like that outlet saved me, that teacher saved me.
And I'm going to pause you right there, because that's what a lot of people don't understand. When you see people out here hustling and really going in with that one craft, it's deeper. And that's why I say you have to respect entrepreneurs and small businesses, simply because like you don't know if that thing is saving people. Like all this that I do, all that craziness, and I'm talking to myself. Like literally talking to myself and self-soothing for so many things. So like, that saving you that's a beautiful thing.
Because usually, I mean, when we have that much love and are really like willing to sacrifice what society says is normal or safe or stable. Right. And I'm like, no, like I need to follow my heart. And so I turned 40 almost 3 years ago. And at that point I was like, I'm living life on my terms now, and I am a photographer. Like I'm not just people are like, you're a photographer? I was like, do you not see the pictures that I post all of the time? Like, but because I wasn't owning that, and I wasn't saying, yes, I am.
Confidently, right.
Confidently, but now I'm being recognized as that. And I actually, nobody knows this yet, was asked to do an art show in December for I'm a volunteer for Wonder Brink, which is a creative networking group. And I actually bedazzled a set of photos that I had printed in 2014. And the woman Kelly, who's running Wonder Brink, reached out to me like minutes after I had posted it and was like, do you want to be the artist for December? And not even 3 days earlier, we were on spring break. My brother was there and we were talking, and I said, I'm going to have an art show before the end of the year. 3 days later, I post that. She reaches out. Holy
Spirit. Asking you shall receive.
Asking you shall receive. And it's my birthday weekend. So I get to start my new year with an art show, which is something that I promised myself that would happen. So I am a photographer. I am a mother. I am a creative. I am a healer. And I also work for 2 badass female entrepreneurs in Buffalo. I am the venue manager for Brand Hive Buffalo, which is a podcast studio, content creation studio, and private event space.
Okay, I'm good, because I have been seeing it. I'm like, what? Seeing it, and I'm like, what is Brand Hive? Okay, so that now, got it.
That's
got
us.
It. Okay,
and then. And I actually got both of these jobs like 2 weeks apart from each other. And then my other job is I am a bartender and a charcuterie artist down at Meet and Eat Charcuterie in Larkin.
Okay.
And both businesses are just turning 2 years old. And these women Kristen and Jessica are amazing. And I am learning so much. I get to be a part of really building something awesome. It's exciting. And I get to be creative. And it's opened up doors for me professionally, because going back to it being deeper than just a craft, I knew I never wanted to turn my passion and my purpose into a hustle. So when it comes to photo shoots, of course I can shoot anything.
Yeah, right. But that intentionality.
But what do I want to shoot? And I consider myself a documentary photographer. And like behind the scenes is my favorite, like capturing raw, real moments, even
And
in
authenticity.
the authenticity. When you have pages of curated feeds, I want to be the one that's catching those in the raw moments. And so
Because people miss the details most of the time,
they
not
do.
realizing that makes the bigger
yes,
picture.
and it's funny because I do all the behind the scenes for Jess for our podcast and
Yes.
everything, and she hates pictures being taken of her, and she
But probably takes the best candid ones.
And she tells me, she was like, "You're like the photo ninja." She was like, she's like, "When did you even take that picture?"
See?
And actually, one of the pictures that I took is going to be in one of our advertisements in the airport.
Oh,
So I'm like, okay, so,
yes.
you know, my picture is going out there,
Love
but
it.
I like to capture the real moments. So I also knew going into winter, I was like, I can't be left to my own devices all winter without that structure, knowing that photo
Right.
season was going to calm down.
Right.
And so I prayed about it, and I was like, you know, please, because I'm also at the point where I'm not going to work in industries or jobs that aren't feeding me in some way and that aren't aligned
Right.
with my purpose. And so I was nervous because, you know, things weren't coming, and I was looking at jobs, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I could do
dusty,
that.
dry season. When I tell you that will test all
Everything.
of your negative mindsets,
Yes.
like what is happening? What am I doing wrong?
Right.
That is a rough season, but if you stay patient and faithful and
comes.
obedient,
It
ain't
really-
easy.
It ain't easy. But I knew that with winter coming, I like couldn't go through seasonal depression and everything like that. Again, being caught up in my head. And I love being creative, and I love being active, and I'm a very social person. And so that gets hard as a solo entrepreneur to, if you're not forward facing and you don't have photo shoots every day and you don't have different things going on, like I'm a extroverted introvert at this point in my life. I was
how are you
always
channeling that? Yeah, and I think that's funny. Yes, I very much think I'm the extrovert, introvert, creative, or like I like people, sometimes I don't. You know,
Right.
so it's like, you know, sometimes I'm overstimulated and then you'll see me shut down. You know, so
Yes.
but I think over time it becomes the art of learning how to balance and channel that.
Yes.
So like you said, like Buffalo's weather, perfect, you know. You know what that is.
Yep.
And I will say, like, as I get older this year, I know it was difficult. I noticed it for the first year. I was like, oh, this is a real thing. Season of depression.
This is this lack of sunshine really will mess with your head.
So, and like you said, though, I think one of the proud moments was taking control of it before it consumed me.
Yes.
And figuring out, like you said, okay, I can't do this right now, but how else can I channel it?
Yep.
So I think, like, at the end of the day, it always resorts to self-care, mental health.
Yep.
How are you doing before you're being available and present for everyone else? So one of the points that I had liked that you said was a version of you had to die in order to pretty much live. What does explain that?
I think I've gone through a few rebirths at this point. One of the major ones happened after I had my daughter. And I, you know, because the old me did have to die to become a mother. And it also felt like for the first time, my purpose was clear and why I had done the healing work and why up until that point, but having a child, like, completely exposes all the layers left that you still haven't undone. And so, you know, I had to become okay with that because each season requires a different version of me. And I had to stop being afraid of people falling away or opportunities falling away. And I started looking at it like it's not rejection, it's protection. And I really, my morning prayer every single day when I'm in the shower, that's why I like to pray and meditate. And I like it at the end of the night too. I like to take a shower with just like a candle going or light just to bring the nervous system down, is God, please remove everything and anything that is no longer serving me with peace, love, and ease now. And when I tell you, that prayer works very fast.
Yeah.
And at first it's scary because you're like, everything's leaving, everything's going.
Well, and you keep, and I like that you keep saying that because I think that's the very thing that makes people avoid the necessary change because it's so unknown. Because you're like, well, I want to hang on to this. I'm not realizing the more you hang on too much, you can be delaying your blessing. So it's like, look at it as shedding, like you said, you're the prayer, because it's like you don't want to hold on to toxic stuff and then it starts rotting your roots.
Right, because I mean, it's just like it could be just quitting your job could be the thing that opens up the door for something else, or leaving that situationship where you're not getting reciprocated energy. As scary as that is to let that go, and most of those are trauma bonds, it is like, well, me saying goodbye to this could open up to the person that I've always dreamed of, or opportunities. So I had to stop being afraid of that. And also in Buffalo, that's hard because it is so small and it is hard to get away from certain things. So, you know, it can become a delicate balance. But I also understood that people could leave my life, situations could leave my life, I could leave a job. But that didn't mean the bridge was burned. That didn't mean we may not talk anymore or whatever, but there's no bad blood.
No, and I had to learn that too, because I always used to like, oh, well, if we're not going to talk anymore, like I always thought it had to be on bad terms. Like that's what finalized it, you know. And it's like, you know, maybe it doesn't, like you said, like, you know.
Just I'm in a different season of my life, and it's
people
okay.
with love,
And again, I'm like always around, like I'm there, but like the amount of time and energy I'm investing into this, and that's what we have to look at. Just like our bank accounts, like, where am I putting my energy? Where am I? You got to do an audit of that, and like what is taking my time and energy, and is that benefiting me in my end result? And I have a child, and I'm a single parent, and I've always wanted my daughter to have everything, you know, like I wanted to be that parent that was hands-on. Being a mom is the most important thing, and our society doesn't support that, especially being a single parent, you know, because I still have to work a million hours or jobs to make, you know, when I really just want to be a part of her day-to-day life. And so, having to let go of old versions of me to expand.
That unlearning part, like you said.
Learning. I'm so... Unlearning. Yeah. So you're unlearning and then then you're learning, and then it just keep practicing, you know, the boundaries and the different things that you've implemented. And it takes time.
And I think there's such a realness in, or I'm sorry, excuse me, a bravery in being okay in unlearning and relearning, because it could be scary in the sense of you being the one to choose to unlearn can be breaking generational curses. And with that comes trials and tribulations, because you best believe when you start switching up what was comfortable, the enemy is going to come for you, because it's like, what are you doing? You're changing the atmosphere.
And it's funny you said that, because so this probably was maybe 6 months before I got pregnant with my daughter, and I was on a phone call with a healer that I was working with at the time, and he was a medium and had, you know, psychic abilities and whatever. And my grandmother, my dad's mom, came through in that session, and it was like, it ends with you. And I was like, what do you mean it ends with me? Because
I don't have this responsibility.
But also I was like, okay, cool. Like in the future, yes, when I have children, this will end with me, not knowing I'll be pregnant 6 months later, and I'll be doing that work sooner than later. But because that came through, that is always stuck with me. And it made me know that this was bigger than me, because now like conversations have happened with my parents, and they've been able to heal different parts of them, and my brother and my daughter, and my daughter having somebody to stand up and say, no, like this behavior will not be allowed. I have worked I had to have a real conversation with my dad once, and I was like, I've removed every single relationship, situation, whatever in my life that takes me out of my peace. So why do you think that you deserve access and you can have that? I said, nothing. And especially with her, I never want her to think it's okay to be talked to or, you know, experience certain things. And so she's really been my compass. And, you know, at that time I needed something bigger than myself to make some of those hard choices. And I just know that if I can go through all of this and be an example to my daughter on what setting healthy boundaries are, and what living in your purpose is, and living authentically and staying true to yourself, then everything that I've been through isn't in vain. And
it's very important to look at it that way.
It is, because now, you know, not to say her life's going to be perfect or she won't have issues.
We wouldn't want perfect.
Whatever. It's, you know, you might not have to go through the same level of stuff that I had to go through to get to this point. So hopefully she doesn't have to unlearn as much as I have.
And I think, and there's so many important parts in that, in the sense of, you know, you having kids, you took the road of, it's not, your parents were amazing and they did the best that they can, but I think the trouble is sometimes being okay breaking from the mold a little bit of, you know, cultural mindsets, you know, well, your grandfather said that this and that, and kind of restructuring it to be your own, and then you know, perfecting it, but also not realistically perfect, but improving it so it's better for the next generation and make it better from there.
Yes.
And one of the things you said was, you know, creating those boundaries cost you people, but it saved you. And I think there's so much depth and importance in that, because we love our parents. We're always going to respect our parents,
100%.
but our parents are not God.
No.
And I think at times in certain cultures, it's like
They're
that.
on pedestals.
Where it's just like, yes, honor your mother and your father. Let's read the second verse. Don't provoke your children.
Right.
Just saying.
Just saying there's a second line to that.
There's a part, 1B.
Right.
You know, so things like that, in the sense of where it's like you almost have to get a little respectfully bold, in the sense of, like you said, nothing or no one is worth sacrificing your peace and sanity.
No.
Because at the end of the day, salvation is individual, and really the only one we need to be concerned with pleasing is God. So it's like, whether it's relationships, jobs, parents, family, whatever the case is, at no point in time should so much power be given to them or that it's like consuming you or taking away from you.
Because they're just characters in our story at the end of the day. Like, our soul was created by a higher being. They were just the vessels that brought us into this form. So, you know, but it takes us a long time to realize that they're not like the end all be all. And then when you get older, and I was like, you know, when you're asking advice, and, you know, there are certain decisions I might not have made, but you think, you know, I'm going to go ask my parents, and understanding that they're giving you advice from their perspective and maybe from their lack mindset or their unhealed trauma or their projection. And, you know, that's why I pray before, even when I'm making big decisions. I'm quiet. I pray. There are a select few people that I know
that you can come
that
to.
I can come to. But for a long, you know, I stay quiet a lot of the time before.
And like, once again, like, you just strong points through and through. I had to learn that too, where, like, you know, I grew up super Pentecostal, super strict. We missed out on very crucial parts through, you know, our teen years that we should have experienced at home, and we didn't. Missed out on a lot of childhood things. Fast forward. It's fine. You know, you're not going to resent them. You don't hold it against them, but it still plays a part in your adulthood.
Right.
And it's having an understanding and accepting that, but also, you know, realizing you have to have grace, not only with them, but with yourself.
Right.
But also being okay, like, these things take years to unlearn, you know, like, years, you know, to heal from, to understand from, but also, like, okay, that was the mindset. And it's not that you're going to ignore everybody's suggestions, but like you said, knowing who to go to and even what to say, and knowing when it's like quiet. Like, for me, I'm really big on, I don't really have a lot of female friends. Yeah. But I don't have the wrong kind of female friends, where if I'm going through something, like, oh, well, what he do, this and that,
right.
And
or
you be the very one with
forever,
no man.
Whatever.
Ma'am.
Right. Exactly.
No. So it's like that type of stuff where, like, you have to be careful who you're going to for this advice, you know, friendships, pastors, male, female,
because everybody has their own projection of
because you have to be careful, you know, that's influence, could be the wrong inspiration, and now you're making decisions not even based on your
you.
Right, exactly, on you. So there's also, and that's where, like, that discernment comes in, but, like, that quietness of, first of all, everybody has it, but us women, you know dang well that intuition be ringing, but we're stuck in, like, well, I just want to see, but I'm just going to find out. But let me just try.
I'm like, and that's where, you know, that's where I'm big on accountability.
Yes.
And, you know, I give myself grace, because in the different periods of time, maybe where I ignored red flags and the storm and everything, you know, I did the best I could at that time, but now I know better. So I can look back on every single situation that might have been bad, but I believe everything's a lesson. So I don't look at it anymore like that. But I 100% ignored my intuition in every single one of those situations.
Girl, were you okay?
I
it was
did that
right there.
right there. I did it to myself. And I'm like, no, it can change, or I can change him or her, the job or whatever.
And even just what you just said in the sense of, love is blind or whatever the case is, when you're going through it, sometimes, you have the blinders on and you're just ignoring the, well, what if? And like I said, and I even too, like I used to oh my God, so hard on myself, this and that. Number one, Jesus died for our sins so we could wake up and have a clean slate every day. It's not to take sin in the night and then wake up, okay, no, not intentionally or take advantage of it.
Right.
But we're more hard on ourselves than God himself is being hard on us. And there's such an importance of understanding, don't dwell on your past because your past doesn't define your present or your future.
1000%.
So why are you, making it depict what's to come for you or could come?
Because it's just chapters.
It is, but also too, it's switching that mindset and perspective of regardless of relationship, work, family, however that went, unless you have a time machine to go back and change it, accept it, be okay with it,
take what lessons you
forgive,
learned,
get the closure, whatever the case is, but always live from that point and forward.
Right, because you can take what you learned and then you implement it into the next
And it's literally
situation.
lessons and experience. I don't even like using the word mistake anymore.
No.
Because I'm like, if it wasn't for that going wrong or that not working out, you wouldn't know what to do right the next time.
Right.
Maybe the second or third time. But accountability.
Right, accountability.
So it's like, at the end of the day, it's mindset, perspective, balance, and just self-care. And when you need to get quiet, don't feel the need to need that validation, obligation, or explanation. And if you have to do it and you want to explain it to some people because you don't want anybody thinking you went missing,
right,
fine.
Right.
But I think slowly but surely, it is resorting back to people catching on of like, who the hell am I speaking to when I'm posting all these stories and post this and that? Where it's just like, what's the benefit? Is it intentional?
Right.
Are the people seeing it, are they genuinely going to be happy? Are you positively influencing or motivating somebody? Like, we have to get back to these basics and these foundations of, are you looking busy or are you genuinely doing something not only to help yourself first internally, because that creates a better authenticity, for people to be like, okay, I can see that worked for her. I don't have to do it exactly like them, but how can I use that, as inspiration, turn it into my own, put that creativity into it, enhance it, and then pass it on for the next person.
Yes.
And I think there's a struggle with that mindset because the distractions of trends, society, social media, the facades.
Social media is, I mean, we're really going to see the effects of it in the next bunch of years, but it really can make you think that who you authentically are isn't right, or you're not doing it right. But also in the same breath, there's something really beautiful about it too. And knowing that in a click of a button, I could share something that uplifts somebody or changes somebody. Back before Facebook could be monetized, before even the whole public was on it, I created a page called Positivity in Pink. This was before my daughter was born. Everything was organic, no paid advertisement. It wasn't even a business page. It was just a page.
Yeah, a page, right.
And I created it. And it was before everybody was sharing the memes with the positive quotes and all that. I was so ahead of my time, multiple times. And I, in a very short amount of time, got over 7,000 followers organically. Yeah. Again, because it was just random people finding me. And then I started getting messages like, I read your posts every day before I go to chemo and they help me get through it. Or your posts help me leave an abusive relationship. And you're like, oh my God, I didn't even know that me sharing this because it was something that I was going through could really impact people. And then, the way social media and working in the industry for so long, because I was creating so much content before for other people, I had no desire to do it for myself. Because then I also knew the gross part of the industry and the algorithms and everything else. And so it's do I want to feed the machine? Do I even want to be a part of it? But I also know that my voice matters and can be utilized. Excuse me. And So, social media can be used in a lot of powerful ways.
And I think that's one of the most important things these days is like what you just said. We're like, even mine, like I feel like I'm posting a lot, but then like I've gotten like a sprinkle of people. I'm like, you watch my stuff on the daily, and it almost fuels the right kind of strength in the sense of, despite the what social media can be used for, and and these industries. Now I have to just keep doing it the right way because that's a superpower in itself. Right. Now I'm unique.
Doing it authentically in your way. And I'm not looking to go viral.
But I love my imperfections.
If I go viral, cool. But
it's not your goal.
If I also know that my voice and my story and things that I've been through could help somebody else, and I impact even just a few people, then my job is done.
And people underestimate doing it that way. That's how I've switched my mindset and disciplined myself to do it. I'm like, I got stuff coming out of the woodworks where I'm like, okay, sure. Right. Now it comes to you because you're doing it with pure intentions. And that in itself, God will send you who's meant for you, 1000%. When they are meant for you, the opportunities, and like I said, we can't get too fixed on trying to control the outcome of anything in life.
No, because we can't.
Exactly, you can't. And the more you kind of learn to let that go, you actually understand how to truly live life freely and peacefully.
Yes.
And it's life-changing. We can only put it into words so much for you, but you have to try it for yourself.
It is so
it's freeing.
The level of peace and clarity and calm that I have in my life right now. I, number one, understand why my grandmother never remarried and lived by herself, because I've been living by myself for 15 years. And I'm like, yes, I want a partner.
Right.
But what does this look like? Right. I'm not sure.
I need the terms and conditions.
I want to cohabitate full time.
Right.
And, even shifting perspective is always, and breaking away from society, because never did I ever imagine I would be 43, never married, not in a partnership. Okay. Not in, but
but you exude the right kind of energy, and that says a lot.
But then I also realized I got to be a mom who got to be with my daughter, giving her my full attention for 13 years. And now, she goes into high school next year. And then the reality of being like, I got 4 years left.
Yeah, right. Time is valuable.
I could sit here and be like, oh, poor me, I'm 43 and I don't have a man and I don't have that. I have the most beautiful relationship with my daughter, and we wouldn't be able to have this if we hadn't had this time. Right. So you have to lean in. We all have different paths. And I think society has taught us, back in my day, high school, college, marriage, house, kids, and I didn't in no way, shape, or form like that.
We rebelled against the grain of society, but best decision ever. It works for some, it might not work for others, but
that was my life path. And if we can look at ourselves and understand that we all have a unique path. We're not supposed to look cookie cutter. We're not supposed to all have the same path. We're not all supposed to be millionaires. We're not all supposed to, I build wealth in other ways.
Oh, absolutely.
And so perspective is everything. And I could be sad, or I could look at these next 4 years as the most amazing 4 years with my daughter, with myself. And it's what you make of it. And at this point, I couldn't imagine bringing somebody in full time to our life. Right. At this point, we got a really great thing going on. Her and I.
You okay if we call her out for a second?
Yeah, we can call her out. Eliana, she's coming. She probably has to check her edges first.
Yes.
I know my child so well.
While she comes, and like I said, I just and that's the beauty of it all, where it's just don't frown on your journey, not even realizing you're in the blessing because of what people say, what society says. You almost have to develop this I don't care attitude, just at enough of a healthy point where live your life. Time is short. Not everybody has into their older years to live. So wherever you are now,
none of us know.
Yeah, wherever you are now, whatever you do have, whatever you don't have, either way it goes, is probably a blessing.
Here she is.
This is her little blessing, and And
So
fulfillment of
her name, Eliana,
Yeah.
in Hebrew actually means my God has answered me.
Aww.
She is my answered prayer and my reason. And I'm so proud of her. And it is really awesome to see, you know, that work that I put into myself allowed me to be the mom that she deserved and that she needed. And you know, she's a little entrepreneur.
Yes, got to start them young.
Got to start them young.
That's generational wealth. That's they said the Bible says lead your children up in the way that you want them to live.
Yes,
you have to do that as of now. You know, she's not that young, but she's old enough, and these ages are so crucial because she's looking up to you. So that's what her guideline of adulting is going to be in the next 4 years.
Yeah, and when it goes, you know, back to society thinks a lot of the conversations and how I raise my child are not right because I'm honest with her.
No, please be honest. Yeah.
Age appropriate honest, but if things would have been spoken to me in an honest way, then I would have been able to make better decisions.
I was immature in a lot of ways because, they hate you, they protected you, and it's not that it's a bad thing to a certain point, and yes, age appropriate, that sort of thing, but honestly, there was so much I wish I would have experienced and learned from my parents at home versus like having to figure out for myself.
In
So
the
be
real
grateful
world.
for that. That's great.
and I'm honest with her about why friendships end, why relationships end, money struggles, you know, not to scare her and
It's
not
reality.
to, but it's reality and in understanding that it's a chapter. So, you know, we talk openly about that, and I want her to be aware of what the world is.
That
because
awareness,
being a woman in this world, and you know, I acknowledge I am a white woman raising a woman of color, and so grateful for my tribe around me who, because there are experiences that I have never experienced and will never experience, that, you know, she deserves to have a support system to help her through that. And so grateful for my tribe who really surrounds us and, you know, is there for her in all the ways.
Well, you heard it here on Just Ask Em. I'm so honored that I had this opportunity to interview you. And like I said, I think there's just so many great things to come. Wonderful points. This is healing and refreshing for me.
Oh,
so
yay.
I love having these, you know, interviews with the right people. I love when it aligns the way that it needs to. You know, just gaining that clarity and confidence. You don't have to know it all right away. And anything you don't know, reach out to the right people. You know, don't be fearful not to know certain things and to not say yes to somebody's opinion or suggestion either.
Right.
You know, and I think there's such a purity and beauty in staying authentic to yourself first, and then you take the pieces that you feel work for you and benefit you from others around you, or like that support system you said. So stay tuned. A lot of good things coming for her. Hopefully some collaborations.
Yes, I cannot wait.
And once again, you know, I've sat here many times in this newest set. I feel like I just come up with these new sets. Who knows?
I love it.
I know. But soon enough in the next month, hopefully by June 1st, we will be officially, you know, set up for Hiding Place Therapy 2.0. And it is going to be for individuals, couples, family, and youth. And like you said, you also work with the youth. So I'm just looking forward to a lot of collaborations, really stepping into certain purposes and staying truthful to the original vision. And I think right now it's a very crucial time for the youth, you know, really being supported and restored.
Oh, it's necessary.
It is
necessary.
essential. So you heard it here. Make sure you support local, subscribe, and keep up with the good stuff that benefits you. Switch that algorithm to the right things.
Yes. Switch it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
I'm so happy. I cannot wait for what is to come.
Yes.